Hey everyone, it's Mr. Wildboy94. I hope you're doing well today. I have another H.P. Lovecraft short story review for you from this complete fiction thing. I'll show you the cover in a minute, but I had to keep this open while I start this video because I'm not going to be able to remember this title. My brain has already done everything it can since I read this yesterday to delete this from my memory because of how bad it was. This story from H.P. Lovecraft is called A Reminiscence of Dr. Samuel Johnson. It's about 4.5 or 5 pages and a half length-wise, and it's in this beautiful leather-bound copy from Barnes & Noble. I love the book. I typically enjoy, to some extent, H.P. Lovecraft stories, but I'm going to tell you right now, A Reminiscence of Dr. Samuel Johnson is awful. And it's not a horror story. It's just a straight-up, and this is not my problem, by the way, because I like non-horror stories. I read that sometimes and review those things on my channel. This story here is essentially about a fellow who is an oddball. He apparently is like 200 years old, according to his time frame that he talks. It's kind of like Lovecraft kind of making fun of himself a little bit, with the way he writes, the way he would talk, all of these things. But the narrator that we're reading about is apparently like 200 years old, and he has a terrible memory. He becomes obsessed with a fellow named Dr. Samuel Johnson, and meets up with him after a little bit, and starts to kind of like harass the guy. Like in a weird way, like, hey, did you read this? No, I don't have any memory of reading that. You're a weirdo, go away. Oh, why? I love you. It's that kind of thing. And he doesn't say it word for word. It's not even a paraphrase of anything that happened in the book, but it's just me saying, this book was so bad, and I hate this narrator, and I hate Samuel Johnson, I hate the jokes in it, I hate everything about it. It's awful. And taking something so, not even pretentious, but wanting to be funny to you, the audience, having something like that, and not knowing that I was going into this and it not being a scary story from Lovecraft, it's what I'm used to reading. Reading this and cringing my way through it, the whole 5.5 pages or 4.5, whatever it was, I don't even have words for it. It's just cringy. It's not funny. It might have been funny back when it was written in, like, 100 years ago, but right now it's not. it's just insufferable. I don't like it. Does it seem like I'm hopeless tonight? Yeah, it probably is, because I am. Because this story was terrible. It is a story, and it's not just some little thing that Lovecraft wrote for a friend. Well, it might be, but you know what I mean. It's not like a little jokey letter type of thing. No, this is straight up supposed to be a mimicry of another writer. I don't know who it was. It's put in the book, but I don't care enough to tell you, because I think it's like Bowser or Browser. I don't know. A Reminiscence of Dr. Samuel Johnson is awful. It's probably the worst thing I've ever read from Lovecraft. I've read his poetry. I've read his Christmas letters he used to send out to friends. I've read a lot of things from this guy. Only reading like a quarter or a third of what he's written in his entire life. He had a short life, but all the stuff that he did put together, I've read quite a bit of it. And I will tell you, this is the worst thing I've ever read from this guy. I hate to be that guy, but I hate it. I think it's genuinely awful. I think it might be one of the worst things I've ever read in my life. It's not even like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing. I'm a Shakespeare fan, but I think Romeo and Juliet sucks. I think there's nothing really good about it. I think the morality sucks. I think the tragedy aspect sucks. It's just a bad story all around, in my opinion. I think it's just dumb. No one would do what happens in that story. But with that being said, A Reminiscence of Dr. Samuel Johnson. Do I recommend the story? Does it sound like I recommend the story to you? No. No. If I had to rate that story on a 5-star basis in this book, I'd give it a 1 out of 5 stars. That is the lowest and bottom-feeding area of my rating system. That should tell you everything you need to know, and the hostility in my voice should also tell you it sucks. It sucks so bad, don't read that trash. It's not worth the life that you will spend towards it, that 5 or so minutes you'll be reading this garbage. Anyway, what are your thoughts on A Reminiscence of Dr. Samuel Johnson? Did you hate it as much as I did? My boy Austin, Monster Blood, I saw you comment on one of my videos earlier. I would love to see you put in the comments down below if you read the story to let me know if you liked it, my friend, because I am probably going to have to mock you. No, I'm just laughing. My boy over there, Lovecraft is his favorite, or not one of his favorite. It's one of his favorites, not his absolute favorite. But I would love to hear your opinion down in the comment section down below about this pile of trash. It's weird seeing Lovecraft try. Does that make sense? I'm used to him just doing what he does with his writing style. But to see him try to do something else, to try to be somebody else, even though it seems like a lot of people who reviewed this story online have said that this is very much a faithful way of writing style that he's trying to mimic from this other writer, which doesn't impress me at all 100 years later. So, anyway, with that being said, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. I would love to hear what you have to say about H.P. Lovecraft's A Reminiscence of Dr. Samuel Johnson. I hope to never hear about this book ever again. Or this story. Not book, but this story. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. God bless you all, and goodbye.